So now we will continue with our segment number 2, okay, which is how did the was it the Big Bang, or did God created the universe and the earth? Okay, so the next point I want to raise is that I want to ask you a question. Why is the universe so fine-tuned in order for life to exist? Why is the universe so fine-tuned in order for life to exist? Do you know that many factors are needed in order for life to exist? Okay, there are some 100 conditions required for life to exist, and they are so fine-tuned for the universe to sustain life. They include gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, principle of quantization, etc. And as scientists study all these areas, they find that even a small deviation in any of these 100 conditions would prevent the universe from existing, not having matter, or be unsuitable for any form of life. So through their discoveries, they realized that, wow, the universe is so fine-tuned for life. So for example, if gravity had been only slightly stronger, just now is about 9.8 or something, right? If it's slightly stronger, stars would have formed from smaller amounts of material and consequently would have been smaller with much shorter lives. Conversely, if gravity had been only slightly weaker, stars would have been much colder and hence would not have exploded into supernova. This also would have rendered life impossible, as supernovae are the main source of many of the heavy elements that form the ingredients of life. So scientists are perplexed. Why is this universe so fine-tuned for life? Now, there are only 2 possible explanations. Why? Because there are these 2 that we started out with. Number 1 is that there is a creator God who is intelligent, who is powerful, and he did all the fine-tuning with great wisdom, getting it right at the first instance of creation. If we reject the possibility of God, they've come up with the multiverse theory. The multiverse theory, basically it states that because fine-tuning does not fit naturalistic explanations, therefore, our universe could be one of many billions and billions of universes that by chance had all the perfect conditions. So let's say 1 out of billions and billions and billions, all the other billions and billions and billions didn't have the condition, but ours is the 1 out of billions because it's all about time and chance and matter, right? Naturalistic explanations. Okay, so that is an explanation to counter the explanation for God. Okay, but the problem is this. There is no evidence of multiverse. Okay, I mean, you have the Hubble Space Telescope, you're looking out. There is no evidence for multiverse. And this multiverse, there will also be other problems, like we need to ask, then who created this multiverse? So many universes, billions and billions and billions and billions, right? Who created it? And the same question, right? Then where did all this matter come from? And now you have even more matter that you need to create billions and billions and billions of universes called a multiverse. Where did all the energy come from that form the billions and billions and billions of it, right? It raises more questions that cannot be answered. Okay, so of the 2, it seems logical to say that it looks like it is Creator God who made everything with great wisdom and power, that it was right at the first instance of creation. Now let's see what some of the top scientists in the world says. Those who have studied the universe. Fred Hoyle, who is a well-known Cambridge University astrophysicist and mathematician, he says a common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that the super intellect has monkeyed with physics as well as with chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. the numbers one calculates from the facts seem to me so overwhelming as to put this conclusion almost beyond question. Someone has tampered, someone has intervened, someone has monkeyed with physics, chemistry, and biology. Someone, okay? And Paul Davies, the English physicist and a professor at Arizona State University, he says, scientists are slowly waking up to an inconvenient truth that the universe looks suspiciously like a fix. The issue concerns the very laws of nature themselves. For 40 years, physicists and cosmologists have been quietly collecting examples of all too inconvenient coincidences and special features in the underlying laws of the universe that seem to be necessary in order for life and hence conscious beings to exist. Change any of them and the consequences would be little. Okay? We wouldn't be here if you just change any of these 100 conditions. And even the most influential philosophical atheist, Anthony Flew, he also agreed towards the end of his life. Right? He has spent his life fighting against the idea of God. You know, that's what a lot of atheists do. Okay? And then towards the end of his life, right, the most influential philosophical atheist, as well as one of the most renowned atheists of the 20th century, Anthony Flew, announced in 2004 that he accepted the existence of God. After decades of insisting belief in God as a mystic, he has concluded that some sort of intelligence or first cause must have created the universe. Next question. It's not just the universe that is fine-tuned for life. The earth is also highly fine-tuned for life. So the question is, why is the earth so fine-tuned for life to exist? There are at least 20 conditions necessary for life, for a life-sustaining planet. This is under the science of astrobiology, right? There are actually scientists in this field who study all these conditions. The odds of having all the factors correct approximates 0. The probability of a single habitable world among billions of planets appear unlikely. The Earth is very special. It is called an exceptional planet. Okay, there's a book by Werner Gitt, right? He calls the Earth an exceptional planet. The location of Earth also gives it access to make scientific discoveries of the universe. We can see distant galaxies, make discoveries through solar eclipses. The Earth is a habitat for man to also find God. And God has given man this means to discover Him. It seems like God, who created man, also created the conditions for man to explore the universe to find God, even through the study of science. Here are some examples of how the world is fine-tuned for life. It has a home star of the right temperature and mass. This is the sun. It is in an orbital path that is neither too far nor too close to the home star, right? That means it's revolving around the sun at the right distance. It has a moon large enough to stabilize the tilts of its axis and the movement of its tides. It has a magnetic field strong enough to deflect the sun's radiation. It is located within a narrow galactic habitable zone, just a narrow strip that can sustain life, and it is right, you look at the picture, it is right there within that habitable zone. Too many coincidences means that it is no longer a coincidence. It has the correct mass. It has plate tectonics, which is necessary for the formation of continents and other geological features necessary for life to emerge. It has an oxygen-rich atmosphere. You know, we need oxygen. We breathe, you know, and we need. It has a correct ratio of liquid water and continents. Water is necessary for life. It has sufficient water. So many conditions, at least 20, necessary to sustain life, and it is found only in planet Earth, not any other planets. Let's do an exercise now. Imagine, right? We are preparing for a newborn baby. Okay, anyone expecting here? No, huh? We're preparing for a newborn baby. One of our friends, Amanda, just gave birth. So, just preparing her room for a while, right? For the baby, for 9 months. Okay? So, what do you need to do to prepare an environment suitable for your baby when the baby arrives 9 months later? Okay? You need a baby cot. You need maybe aircon, set it at the right temperature. You need, all the right conditions and all the different things, right? You need diapers. You need, I don't know, it's been too long. So what else do you need, ladies? Okay, tell me, okay? So you need quite a fair bit of things so that when the baby comes, wow, this is the perfect environment for me to be in, to feel comfortable, to grow up in, to explore, and to get to know my parents who prepared this room for me. Do you see? When you look at the earth and you say, why is it so fine-tuned for us, for our comfort, to discover God? This exercise kind of tells you why, okay? Okay, let's do another exercise. The earth today, overpopulation and too much carbon dioxide, gases, rising temperatures, rising sea levels. The earth, okay, we're going to destroy the earth, let's say, right? So we need to move to a new home. Let's say this earth, we're planning for it, is going to be messed up. We're going to move to a new home. Which planet will you move to? Okay, we have two choices. Which are the two nearest planets to Earth? Venus or Mars? How many of you want to occupy Mars? Come on. How many of you want to join Elon Musk? Occupy Mars. Come on. Anyone? Or how many of us prefer Venus? Okay, let's raise your hands. Who prefer Venus? Wow. Okay, someone, 1, 2. Okay. Who prefer Mars? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, more. Okay. Okay, I've got bad news for you. Because these two planets are not within the habitable zone. Okay. What is the temperature on Venus? 462 degrees Celsius. Okay, the two who wants to go to Venus. Okay, get ready to have some sunbathing and and so forth, barbecues every day. Yeah. 462 degrees Celsius. Okay, too hot. Why? It's too near the sun. Okay. And what about Mars? Okay, Mars' atmosphere is about 100 times thinner than the Earth's. It is a smaller planet than Earth. And without a thermal blanket, Mars can't retain any heat energy. On average, the temperature of Mars is about minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 60 degrees Celsius. So get ready, bring all your winter clothing, extra winter clothing, okay? But there are more problems on Mars, right? Yeah, Mars habitability is limited by its small size, and it is doomed from the start because Mars may never have enough water for life. There are so many conditions we take for granted that we have on this earth that we don't think about it at all. We think, oh, it's just here, it's just... But the moment you move to Mars, you find, hey, this one don't have, that one don't have, water, one thirsty don't have, Then we realize that this earth is very special. Okay, very special. Okay, next I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about the sun, okay? Do you know that the sun is also very special? The sun within our solar system. Many things could have gone wrong, okay? So, why does the sun seem designed to sustain life on planet Earth as well? Okay, you know that the sun is a source of life on Earth, right? The light from the sun provides heat for us. The light is needed for photosynthesis for food. Okay, anyone who grow plants, vegetables at home, you know that the sunlight is important. If the sun stops shining, all life on Earth will end. Okay, and the sun uses nuclear fusion. instead of chemical combustion, okay, which is more powerful and it lasts longer. So there are very unique features of the sun to help sustain life on Earth. So the question we need to ask is, who designed the sun to function as a sun, to provide us with light and heat? Why do all the planets revolve around the sun? Right? What if all the planets revolve around, not a sun, something else? Then you have problem already, right? And why is it that the sun is a sun for other planets to revolve around? What if it was another normal planet? It was Pluto or something, another planet that doesn't generate heat. Then revolve around that planet also no use, right? Because you don't get heat, you don't get sunlight. So there are many design features of our solar system. Who calibrated the distance of the sun such that the light and the heat would be optimal for life on Earth? Who designed it to use nuclear fusion, which uses hydrogen, okay? Instead of chemical combustion, which uses oxygen. Why? Because if it is combustion, like, you go for, what do you call that, a campfire. After a while, very fast, you burn out, right? But because it's nuclear fusion, it can last a long time, okay? And then, who carefully put so much hydrogen atoms there? I mean, hydrogen atoms don't just appear out of nowhere, right? Who set off that nuclear fusion process in such a calibrated and controlled manner that is generating light and heat in such a consistent manner, right? Rather than, you have big surges, 300 times stronger one day, 50% another day, and then we're all either burnt or we're all in, cold, okay? 2 Corinthians 4:6 says, "For it is God who commanded light to shine out of darkness, who has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ." And why doesn't the sun explode like a hydrogen bomb or like the Hiroshima nuclear bomb to cause carnage on Earth? Why does it give out energy at a controlled and constant rate without major surges or power down? Okay, and this is nature. It's not a lab with controlled conditions. Even in labs with controlled conditions, anyone working in IT, you can have outages, you can have problems even in a controlled environment. Yet in nature, you expect it to be better than, in a controlled environment. Okay? Why doesn't the energy wane? If the sun can be produced so easily by simple random chance, why haven't scientists been successful in harnessing nuclear fusion as an energy source even up to today? So simple. Nature can just create like that. Why haven't we been able to, with all our scientists and our brains and knowledge accumulated over, years, we still have not successfully harnessed nuclear fusion? So there are many questions, right? We don't want to take the sun for granted, that it was so well designed. It was not just an accident, okay? Okay, next, let's calculate the odds of getting all these conditions right. Conditions, okay, of, let's say, the 100 conditions of the fine-tuned universe and the 20 conditions of the fine-tuned Earth. What is the odds? If you did probability, any of us study mathematics, you study probability, you study odds. You find what are the odds of getting 100 conditions right and another 20 conditions right the first time. You only have one go at it, right? Imagine there's a big bang and somehow granted, someone gave you some free energy and matter to create the big bang, okay? But you only have one shot at it. If you get it wrong, no second chance. But how do you get so many conditions right at the first go that today we are here? It's like throwing a dice and getting 6 many times in a row for many times. The chances of rolling a dice with hitting 6, okay, for like 70 times in a row, okay, in order to get the expansion rate of the universe right, okay, just one condition right, you need to throw a dice hitting 670 times in a row. Okay, every 40 seconds you keep throwing. You have to throw it 100 trillion years. That's how long, if you go by probability and chance. But in nature, you only have one chance to get all the conditions right the first try. Okay, and any wrong is irreversible. Okay, so there are many other factors to get right in addition to this one factor. Okay, So the theory of Big Bang is based purely on chance, and it fails because it couldn't have created the environment that we have, all the conditions that is so perfectly supporting life. Okay? It would not have been possible in nature. So it seems to point that God made everything right the first time at the moment that He wanted. Okay, so you can watch on YouTube this YouTube documentary, How a Dice Can Show That God Exists. Okay, talks about the probabilities and so forth. Okay, let's do an exercise now. Congratulations, you have inherited a piece of land. You have to build a detached house on this land. Now you only have enough resources for one try. Okay, you don't have all the money on the earth, right? You only have enough money to build one time. Okay, let's say. And you have two choices. The first choice is the random choice, right? The natural random choice. Build the house yourself randomly without any knowledge and plans. Number two, the design choice. Appoint an architect to design, okay, and to build up a plan, and then based on that plan to build your dream house. Which is your decision? Which is the decision, the option that will produce the house that you really want? And which option can be disastrous? Tell me. Okay, who wants to go by the random way? Who thinks the random way will produce this beautiful, perfect dream house of yours? Anyone? Okay, who thinks that you want to find a good architect, to design this dream house, give all the specification and build it exactly, perfectly, the way you want it? Okay? Okay, Peter, all right. Peter wants, okay, quite a few. Everyone wants, okay. I think this exercise seems to tell us something about our universe, about our earth. Okay? If it was left to random chance, what kind of earth will we be in? What kind of universe? We won't even be here probably. Okay? One condition wrong, gravity wrong, we are finished. Okay? So it seems like we probably prefer to have a wise, powerful creator God who have created all this to sustain life, because then it's perfectly what we need it to be. So what can go wrong if you anyhow do it? Okay, here are some examples from the internet. Maybe a house can be upside down. Maybe it can be a weird shape, hanging in the air. Maybe you can have a staircase that can't go up. Maybe you have a pipe in the middle of your staircase. Maybe you have a shower spraying into your toilet bowl. Maybe you have a toilet too narrow that you need to slim down to get in. Maybe you have a tap that sprays out instead of into your basin. Maybe you have a door that cannot be closed. Okay, all these things can happen. Trust me, all right? So anything from my experience, okay, anything that is complex with interconnected subparts and have irreversible structures requires specific sequential process to build and cannot be made through it cannot be made through an undirected process. Okay, and this includes building a house or a factory or a city. Okay, how much more a world and a universe ecosystem that is infinitely a billion times more complex than building even a city. Even in Singapore, right, to build, the Marina Bay area with the beautiful reservoir and so forth. There was a master plan, URA. You had, you had engineers, you had city planners, you had all these brains put together just to create that. How much more this complex world and universe? Think about that, okay? So what is the outcome of a design universe, right? If you don't want this outcome, what is the outcome when you have a infinitely wise and powerful creator God? This is what you get. A beautiful, functional planet that works, that is fine-tuned to sustain life, and that just works so well, okay? So, Psalm 19 verse 1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows His handiwork. Next, I want to talk about how God reveals Himself to us through His creation. I want to talk about how a painting reveals the painter. It is said that the painting reveals the painter's attributes, his thoughts, his feelings, right? You know, if you're depressed, you paint something, it will reflect it. There is this painting called The Scream by Edvard Munch. Considered to be one of the most valuable paintings in the world. It is displayed today in the National Museum in Oslo. Anyone seen this before? No, okay. I've seen it. I don't know which city we went to. One of those cities, we saw it. It probably was displayed elsewhere as well. Now the story is this. In his mid-40s, the painter Edvard Munch was facing multiple crises in his life and he was going insane. He felt like he was possessed by a demon. His paintings showed his innermost feelings. Look at that painting. The point I'm making is that the painter reveals himself through his painting. How much more this universe, this earth that we live in, how it reveals God, His nature, His attributes. So if you look at the systematic nature of this whole universe and the world, okay, what does it reveal about God? Romans 1:20 says, "For since the creation of the world, His invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made." And Proverbs 3:19 says, "The Lord by wisdom founded the earth, by understanding He established the heavens." Everything works. Every planet goes within its orbits. Okay? And God is not just infinitely wise. He has a good sense of aesthetics too. He creates things so beautiful. This is what God's beautiful creation reveal about Him. And we enjoy it too. That's why we go on holidays, we travel to places to see beautiful sceneries. And every time you look at the scenery, you can say, well, it just came about by chance. Or you can say, there's a beautiful creator God with a great sense of aesthetics who created this beautiful picture in nature for me to enjoy. Genesis 1:31 tells us that when God created the heavens and the earth, it says, "Then God saw everything that He had made, and indeed it was very good." And Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in His time." So what I've done is I have used evidence to try to derive a conclusion. All right, so let me summarize what I've covered today on this topic. Did God create the universe? So on point 1, we say that science proves that the universe had a beginning. Okay, this is Einstein's theory of relativity and the Hubble telescope, right? Observations. And it confirms Genesis 1 verse 1 of the Bible. The second thing is the source. Who is the source of all this matter, energy, laws, physical laws, right? Space and time. It couldn't have just come about. So, Genesis 1:1 tells us it's God because nature cannot account for this. Third is the cause. Who started the process of the Big Bang and all the energy within it? Again, nature cannot answer. The Bible tells us it's God. The intervener, the law of angular momentum. Who made this 2 planets and 6 moons go in the opposite direction? Someone intervened, right? And it's not an undirected process. It seems to be a directed process. And next we look at the outcome. The outcome looks nothing like the Big Bang explosion. It looks more like creation, careful creation. And next we talk about the fine-tuner to sustain complex life. The lawgiver fine-tuned 100 conditions for the universe and 20 for the planet Earth. And number 7, the odds of getting everything right the first time is 0 without God. By nature, you can't even get one of the conditions right probably. Next, we talk about the designer. If building a house needs a design, how much more a universe that works so perfectly? So it seems to point to God who created it. And then we talk about the artist. God seems to have made Himself known through His creation, His wisdom and His power. Okay, so we have also showed you the assertions of the Bible that seems to, confirm all this. it seems to point that all the evidence shown earlier are consistent with the claims of the Bible. So based on the above logical, arguments and the evidence, what is your conclusion? Are you at least 60 to 70% convinced? Maybe you can strike out one or two of this. You just need 60%, 70%, right? To make a decision. Okay, so this is enough to conclude, I believe. Okay. And if somebody says, well, based on all this evidence, I still conclude that it is not God. You can take that position, it's fair, but you have to answer some very difficult questions to justify your position, to prove that you're logical and scientific, right? You have to answer, right? You have to provide the answer, what is the source of matter, energy, physical laws, and space, okay, and time. You have to explain logically, how can 0 be 1? You have to tell me who started the Big Bang process with all the energy needed to set off this big explosion, okay? And you have to tell me why 2 planets and 6 moons are rotating in the opposite direction, which up to today no scientist can answer. And then you have to tell me why is the outcome of the Big Bang so controlled and constructive rather than destructive. And you have to tell me who fine-tuned the 100 conditions for the universe and 20 for the earth to sustain life. And you have to work on probability and tell me, how did nature get all these conditions right the first instance? Okay, and you have to tell me, if building a house needs an architect, then how come such a complex universe and earth, can come by itself? Okay, so these are questions, right, that you have to provide answers to if you say, look, I conclude the opposite direction. Okay, so I close off with a quote from Sir Isaac Newton. It says that this most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. Okay? Take a look at this quote, and it's from Sir Isaac Newton. Okay? See what you think about it while I drink water. Sir Isaac Newton, okay? This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being. Okay, with this, I end the session, and I've recommended YouTube for you to watch. I encourage you to please watch this. This is The Case for a Creator by Lee Strobel. Okay, it is available on YouTube. Okay, Lee Strobel is a former investigative journalist with the Chicago Tribune. Okay, it is a compelling documentary of about 59 minutes, covering findings of top scientists and experts in various fields pertaining to creation. And this is where my journey started 17 years ago. Okay, this was the first documentary that I watched that inspired me to continue searching for more answers. All right, please watch this, because next Saturday, when I talk about on the topic of did we come through evolution or did God create us? Okay, we're going to draw a lot on evidence and science, and some of it is covered here as well.